basically, the materials are still the same. So, and this will be your advantage. It will be your advantage if you watch the video last year. No? Nasa playlist ko. Okay. So, same yung content. So, let's proceed with the discussion. And then, again, if you have questions, just let me know in the chat box. Okay? So, ganun lang. So, kaaga-aga, magsosolve na naman tayo. Ito malala, ito yung Valentine's date natin lahat muna. Valentine's date, puro solving. Anyway. Ayusin ko lang yung second monitor. Yan. Okay, so we are now in chapter 3. That means malapit na midterm. Okay, one chapter to go. You will have your midterms na. Super bilis ng time, no? Anyway, so this is about chemical equilibrium, no? So other than the solutions, one of the most important topic in analytical chemistry is the equilibrium. Okay? Kasi you are dealing with chemicals in liquid solutions, di ba? Okay? And yung chemicals na yon, depending on their ionization, okay? Pwede siya maging full arrow, wherein strong electrolyte siya. Lahat sila magiging ions. And there are some instances that yung dissociation niya into ions isn't complete, no? So, kumbaga, weak electrolyte siya. And to be honest, majority of the solutions in chemistry appears to be in equilibrium. Okay, so meaning they are not always fully dissociated. Okay, so in our body, there's so many chemical equilibrium happening in us. Okay, especially in our metabolic processes. Kasi kung hindi siya equilibrium, then wala tayong balance sa body, no? So, kumbaga lahat sila magiging energy na lang, no? So, kumbaga, kung nangyayari sa atin yun, siguro puro burst lang tayo ng energy. But luckily for us, no, our body maintains an equilibrium wherein if you have an excess amount of this substance, the reaction will stop, no? And this is the reason, okay, ito yung pinaka-important na bagay with chemical equilibrium is that uh, this is the reason why we don't have to eat always, okay? Unlike other animals na they seem to use the entire day just to eat, no? Okay, pero in humans, no, we are just going to eat mga 2 or 3 times a day, no? Okay, kasi because of chemical equilibrium yon. Okay, kapag nasobrahan na yung dami ng products, hihinto na yung reaction. Okay, so yun yung konsepto ng chemical equilibrium. So let's talk about it, no? And again, this is one of the most important topics in analytical chemistry. So just listen, maigi, and just let me know if you have concerns. So we have several topics to discuss. I'm not sure kung ano yung mat-cover natin, but asan yung ayan. But of course, we will deal with these two. No? If we are lucky, we can cover up to that bullet. Okay, so tignan natin. So, and then the rest will be done next meeting. Okay, next week yan. So, ayan, medyo maraming gagawin. So, mag-ready na muna mentally. Okay. And wala pa naman tayong calculator siguro na gagamitin today. Okay, so now, let's talk about the chemical equilibrium na. And bakit ko sinabi na kapag kunwari dumami na yung product, hihinto na yung reaction. Okay? Kasi ganun yung concept ng chemical equilibrium, no? So, a chemical equilibrium is a state of your system wherein the rates of the forward and reverse reactions are equal. Ibig sabihin, kapag yung forward direction same ng pabalik, equilibrium yan. So, bigyan natin ng example. Kunwari, papunta sa mall. Okay? So, pag papunta sa mall, there are 5 people going inside at a time. And then, at the same time, yung 5 naman, nag-e-exit sa likod ng mall. Okay? So, kumbaga, the number of the people inside the mall doesn't really change. Kasi, for every 5 person that goes into the mall, Yung 5 naman umaalis. Okay. So, kumbaga, the number of people inside ay in equilibrium, in balance. Okay. So, I have some cute visuals here. Okay. So, for example, I have 2 worker ants. Okay. 2 worker red ants. Okay. Mga fire ants ata to. So, as you can see, they are moving the pebbles, no, from one point to another. Okay. So, ito si red ant na to, yung pebble, from here, nililipat niya dun sa other side. While this one is, yung isang pebble na nilagay niya, binabalik niya rin sa other side. So, kumbaga, if you look at into the system, okay, yung general picture niya, yung dami ng nasa left side and yung nasa right side, they are consistent. Okay? Same sila. In equilibrium. Okay? So, nasa equal state siya. Okay? Kasi, for every pebble na tinatanggal nitong nasa baba, yun naman yung dinadagdag na nasa taas, no? Okay, parang yung nasa mall lang din, no? For every 5 person going inside, there are 5 person going outside. Or in the vaccination center, no? Pag may isang naturukan, edi aalis siya, may panibagong papalit. Okay? So, that's the equilibrium concept. Ito naman, another good cute graphics I found in Google. Okay, tignan nyo to. So, nadagdagan ng CD sa product. So, anong gagawin ni Mr. Test Tube? Ililipat niya iyon to the reactant. Okay, just to maintain balance. Okay, so that's the concept of equilibrium. Okay, it is a way wherein the system becomes balanced, no, by adjusting the rate of the reaction. And if the rate of the reaction is equal, then balance yung system. Okay? Okay. And syempre, hindi tayo mawawalan ng math kasi chemistry to. Okay. So one way of describing equilibrium systems is by this equation. Okay. So that's K is equal to the amounts of products divided by the amounts of the reactants. Okay. So, ano yung K? That is the equilibrium constant na. So, anong ginagawa ng equilibrium constant? Siya yung nagsasabi kung nasaan yung system. Kung yung system ba hindi pantay or yung system ba pantay. Okay? So, depending on the value of the K, we can have an idea whether pantay ba yung ating system or hindi siya pantay. Okay? So, yun. And as you can see, kumakahol yung aso ko. As you can see, yung amount ng products and reactants ay naka-square bracket, meaning yan ay molar concentrations. Okay? And the equation is CC DD over AA BB. Okay. So, paano nakuha yung equation na yan? I forgot to type it down. So, if you have a general equation AA plus BB in equilibrium with CC plus DD. Ayan, palabasin ko lang yung dog. Okay. So, if you have a general equation AA, BB, and CC plus DD, yung AA mo, yung reactants mo, of course, and then yung C and D, yun yung mga products mo. Okay? And then yung small letters, they are the coefficients. Okay? So sabi dyan, in order for us to know whether our equation is balanced, whether our system is balanced, we need to solve for K. Okay? So that is the ratio of the molar concentration of the products raised to their coefficients divided by the reactants raised to their coefficients. Okay? So again, raised to their coefficients, meaning yung coefficient nila magiging exponent. Okay? And then you multiply their concentration. So C times D, A times B. And then you use their coefficients as the exponent. Okay? So may value yan nalalabas. So depending on the value, you can tell whether your system is an equilibrium or not. Okay? If your K is equal to 1, okay, so for example, ito, tignan natin. Okay, 5 fish yung kaliwa, 5 fish yung kanan, and then yung fish na yun, back and forth na lang sila. Okay? So, according to that, no? So, kapag naging 5 fish na lang sila, ibig sabihin, nasa equilibrium siya. Okay? So, kasi equal yun nasa reactant side, equal yun nasa product side. So, if you divide 5 and 5, you get 1. Okay? So, meaning, if your K is 1, asan yung aking mouse? Ayun. So, if your K is equal to 1, then that means your system is balanced. Okay? System is in equilibrium. Equilibrium. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pantay yung left and right side mo. In our case, the reactants and the products. So, same lang sila. However, if it is not equal to 1, then meaning one side is favored over the other. Okay? So, kapag hindi yan pantay or hindi yan equal to 1, yung isang side yung favored over the other. So, kapag nakita nyo that your K value is less than 1, that means favored yung reactant. Okay? Favored reactant. Dito na lang. Reactant favored. Okay? So, mas favored yung reactants. Ibig sabihin, most of the time, ang mag-e-exist sa solution ay yung reactants, not the products. Okay? And then, if your K is greater than 1, that means yung products naman, yung favored. Okay? Tignan nyo itong yung picture dito. Ito si Mingming. Dahil kay Mingming, tumakbo yung isda sa kabila. No? Pero yung isa matapang. So, although nagba-back and forth sila, no? Isang isda lang yung naiiwan parati dito sa aquarium kasi takot yung siyam na isda kay Mingming. Okay? So, kumbaga, if this is your reactant, this is your product, mas marami yung products kaysa reactant, ibig sabihin yan, your K value is greater than 1. Okay? So, ganun. Kapag favored yung products, ibig sabihin mas marami yung products kaysa sa reactant, your K is greater than 1. Okay? Ito hindi ko siya mag-pause Pero tignan nyo yung first clip na to. So, 10 yung fish dito, then walang fish dito. And then eventually pumunta sila sa kanan, no? So, kapag ganun, marami sa reactant kaysa sa product, ibig sabihin nun, reactants yung favored mo or yung K mo ay less than 1 yung value. Okay? So, yan. Bakit ulit tayo nagkaroon ng equilibrium constant? Kasi this equation tells us whether our system is balanced. No? Again, always keep in mind that equilibrium is just something about balance. No? Okay? And for us to really know if the system is balanced, then we need to look for the equilibrium constant. Okay? So for a general reaction shown above, the K is expressed as the amounts of products divided by the amounts of the reactants. Okay? So paano sinusulat yun? So you have the concentration of your products, you multiply them, and then the coefficients, yung C and D na small letters, you make them the superscript. Okay? Ginagawa mo silang exponent. Same with the reactants na. So yung A and B, you multiply them and you make the coefficients exponent. Okay? So kapag minultiply mo yan lahat, pag dinivide mo yan lahat, then you will realize na it will have different K values. If it is equal to 1, then your system is in equilibrium, meaning pantay lang yung reactant product side mo. Pero, if the K is less than 1, ibig sabihin mas malaki ang denominator kaysa sa numerator. So, reactants yung favored. And if K is greater than 1, mas marami yung products kaysa reactant. Meaning, K is greater than 1. Okay? So, yun. Sa body natin, maraming ganyan. Okay? For example, ako, hindi pa ako kumakain. Kakagising ko lang. Okay? So, siguro, wala pa akong hindi na nasa equilibrium system ko. So, medyo makaka-feel ako ng gutom. Okay? So, that's my body telling me na hindi na equilibrium yung system mo. So, anong gagawin mo? Kumain ka para may reactants ka sa body. Okay, yung reactants being the glucose from the food. Okay? So, ganun. And then, kunwari, kapag sobrang dami mo ng kinain, masyado na maraming products, your K is greater than 1. So, ano na sasabihin ng body mo? Sasabihin niya, super dami mo ng products, sobrang dami mo ng ATP. Okay? Tumigil ka na sa pagkain. Ayun. Ma-feel mo yon in a sense na parang busog ka. Okay? So, yan. So, everything that happens inside the body is actually governed by just this topic, no? Equilibrium. And you will learn more of that in biochem. Okay? So, yun. Lagi tandaan yung interpretation ng K and how to write K. So, speaking of writing K, let's have some practice. Okay? So, yan. So, for example, we have an equation H2O is an equilibrium. Okay? So, pag nakita natin yan, we usually say is in equilibrium. Okay? So, yung water natin in liquid phase, it is in equilibrium with hydronium ion and hydroxide anion. Okay? So, again, how do you write the K? Okay? So, sulat ko lang dito. In writing the K, it can be written as the products, the concentration of the products divided by the reactants. Okay? So, kunwari, you just have aqueous species. Okay? Kapag AQ lang yung nandyan and then L, okay? Kapag aqueous lang yung mga species mo, pwede ka magsulat ng KC. Meaning that's the K in terms of the concentration for aqueous species. No? Aqueous species. Tama ba spelling ko? Anyway, so KC yung more specific na tawag sa K na yan. Okay, ayan. And then, paano natin isusulat? So, you write your products first. So, again, ang ginagawa, minumultiply natin yung concentration ng products. So, that's why I wrote here, square bracket, H plus times the square bracket of OH. So, again, minumultiply ha, hindi po ina-add. Okay? Kasi baka isipin nyo, concentration nito plus concentration nito. No. You have to multiply them. Since the coefficient is just 1, okay, 1 lang naman yung mga coefficient nila. So, no need to write the exponent 1. Okay? Pero in case, kunwari ito 3, then gagawin mo yung OH mo, magiging cube siya. Okay? So, again, yung coefficients, you will make them the superscript. Okay? So, yun yung numerator. So, products. Then, di ba you divide it by the reactant? Ano sabi dito? So, kapag liquids, we do not write them in the equilibrium constant. Okay? So, kapag liquids yan, you just simply disregard it. So, divided by 1 lang yan. Siguro mapapaisip kayo na, bakit po kailangan i-cancel out yung liquid? Ba't hindi natin kailangan pansinin yung liquid? Bakit yung aqueous lang? Okay, so ganito yung meaning, explanation. The liquid concentration kasi is constant. Okay? So for example, itong tubig ko, whatever forms of water I have, the concentration of water will always be 55.56 molar. Okay? Try nyo isolve yun using molarity. So kahit gano'ng karami yung tubig mo, kahit nasaan man yung tubig mo, is it from ibang bansa or local, the concentration of H2O in the liquid is always 55.56 molar. So, ibig sabihin, hindi talaga siya nagbabago. What changes ay yung dami ng aqueous species. Okay? So, yun yung parang pinaka-meaning nitong mga to. Okay? So, hindi nagbabago yung concentration ng liquid. That's why we don't write them in the equilibrium constant. Pero, yung aqueous, sila yung nagbabago. Sila yung dumadami or sila yung umuonte. Okay? So, laging tandaan, kapag liquids, hindi isusulat. Kapag hindi isusulat, edi 1 lang yan. Okay? So, pwedeng 1. Kaya, kapag denominator naman siya, wag mo na isulat yung denominator. Okay? So, ganun. So, again, yung aqueous is susulat as square bracket. Now, paano naman po kapag gas? Okay? Kapag gas, there are two ways of expressing their concentration. It's either in terms of pressures or pwede rin yung concentration. Okay? Pwede mo kunin kasi yung pressure or yung molarity ng gas eh. Okay? Just using PV and RT. Okay? Paano kinukuha yung molarity ng gas po? Diba? Using PV and RT, if you divide moles by the volume, and ano mangyayari? So, moles over volume, di ba molarity yan? Okay. Kunwari in liters. Okay? M sa ano? Yan, sa P over R, T equals M. So, ibig sabihin, pwede mo kunin yung molarity ng gas, no? Just using the ideal gas equation. Just divide the moles and the volume. You'll get the molarity. Okay? So, yan. So, there are two ways of getting the concentration of gas. It's either by the pressure or by the concentration, by the molarity. By the way, when I say concentration, it is always molarity. Kaya, square bracket. Diba? Kung natatandaan nyo yung diniscuss ko last time. Pag square bracket, molarity yun. Okay? Sa P function. Ayan. So, paano po kapag pressure? Di letter P lang, no? So, PCO2, kunwari. Ayan. In our case, that's NO2. So, PNO2. Okay? So PNO2, meaning pressure of nitrogen dioxide. And PN2O4, pressure of dinitrogen tetroxide. Since you have a coefficient of 2 here, i-square mo yung PNO2. Okay? So, pwede dito mo ilagay yung square. Pwede naman sa harap ng P. Okay, bahala. Okay? Pero kapag nagsusulat kamay ako, sa dulo talaga siya. No? So, pressure NO2. Although, nung tinype ko siya dito sa, PowerPoint, napunta yung 2 okay lang naman yan. Basta ang alam mo, dapat naka-square yung pressure ng NO2. For N2O2, hindi siya naka-square. Why? Because the coefficient is just 1. Okay? Yan lang. Okay, so other than the pressure, you can also express the amount of the products and the reactants in concentration, meaning molarity. So, pwede ka gumamit ng square bracket. And again, kapag liquids or may makita kang solid, yung concentration nila doesn't change. Sa liquid, yung explanation dyan is that fixed talaga yung molarity niyan. No? For every liquid that exists on Earth, they have fixed molarity. For example, yung tubig, 55.56 molar siya. Kahit saan pa man manggaling yan. Okay? And then for the solids, yung concentration kasi ng solid ay yung density niya. Okay? So, yung concentration ng solid ay yung density. And you know that density is an intensive property. Ibig sabihin, yun na talaga yung density niya. Hindi magbabago yun. Okay? So, that's why we don't write the solids and the liquids. Kumbaga, sa Encanto, ito yung we don't talk about Bruno. So, si Bruno yung solid liquid. Huwag niyo siya pag-usapan. Huwag mo isulat sa K. Okay? So, ganyan na lang isipin niyo. Tapos, kumanta na lang kayo. Ayun. So, ganun ha. Sila yung mga Bruno ng equilibrium constant. We don't talk about them. Kasi they don't change at all. What changes ay yung aqueous and yung gas. Okay, so that's why we have two ways of expressing them. It's either in the concentration form or in the pressure form. Hinahanap ko yung yung may examples ba tayo? Meron naman pala. Okay? So, mamaya marami tayong examples. Alam ko yun yung gusto niya. Okay? So, mamaya, nasa next slide pa pala. Next slide. Okay, so ganyan magsulat ng equilibrium constant. Okay, so for now, paki-take note na lang yung mga sinabi ko, especially yung about solids and liquids. And then, mamaya magpa-practice talaga tayo. Okay? So, sige. I'll proceed na ha. So, next slide. These are just some reminders. Okay? So, sabi dito, the concentration of reacting species in condensed phase or in molarity. When you say condensed phase, basically this is just the aqueous. Okay? The aqueous phase. Pinoy past tense to. Condensed phase. Burahin ko nga baka i-post niya sa Pinoy past tense. Okay, condensed phase, yan. Pinoy past tense. Alam niyo naman, bilang fan din ng Facebook group na yan. Natatawa din ako eh. Entertainment din eh. Okay, so the concentration of reacting species in condensed phase, ayun yung mga aqueous systems. Screen, and okay, so ito yung aqueous. Okay, so they are always expressed in molarity, or it can be evidenced as yung square bracket. Okay, however, if you have the gaseous phase, their concentration ay in either molarity, square bracket, o kaya in atmospheres. Ito yung pressure. Okay, ayun pala, important na ang unit ng pressure ay naka atm. Kapag concentration naman, that's molarity. So, ibig sabihin, pag binigyan kayo ng ibang gas pressure like torr, binigyan kayo ng mmHg, binigyan kayo ng pascals, you have to convert them into atm. But don't worry, di namin kayo bibigyan ng ganun. Bakit? Kasi since analytical chemistry focuses on liquids, so puro molarity lang halos. Okay? So just keep that in mind, no? Kapag aqueous, molarity. Kapag gaseous, it's either molarity or atmospheres. Okay? And then, sabi dito, for pure solids and pure liquids, you do not write the solvents. Okay? Sorry, you don't write them. Okay? So, ano lang yung sinusulat? Only write. Only write yung aqueous and yung gaseous. Okay? Sila lang ang pwede. Kasi sila lang yung nagbabago yung pressure, sila lang yung nagbabago yung concentration. And also, equilibrium constants are always dimensionless. When you say dimensionless, walang unit. Okay? Okay? So, yun lang meaning nun. Kung may unit yan, yung molarity, buburahin mo yon. Same with the pH. No? Kung naalala niyo, sinabi ko last time, may nagtanong, ano po yung unit ng pH? Sabi ko, dimensionless siya. Pag sinabing dimensionless, walang unit. It is just a number. Parang grades lang. Okay? It's just a number. Wala siyang unit. Okay? And then, in quoting the value of equilibrium constant, you should write the equation where it came from. Okay? Kung ano equation mo, iba-iba yung equilibrium constant kasi. And later, makikita natin yun. Okay? So, yan yung mga general reminders for now. And then, we will proceed with writing equilibrium constant in few seconds. Okay? May worksheet pala tayo dito. Okay? So, habang nagno-notes kayo or nag-screenshot, kukunin ko lang yung notes ha. Sorry, yung worksheet pala. Asa kaya yung worksheet? Hindi ko pa siya na-upload sa Canvas eh. Pero after this class, upload ko siya. May answers ba to? Sana wala. Ay, may answers na. Ay, hindi, wala siyang answers. Ayan, marami pa tayong answers. Marami pa tayong sasagutan dito. Okay? And then yung mga answers nasa baba. Oopsie, saka na nyo nabasahin. Okay. Dito muna tayo sa nasa PowerPoint. Then, pag nagamit na natin to, punta naman tayo sa worksheet. Okay? So, ako magsasagot ng 1, yung first item. And then, kayo naman sa sa mga susunod na item. Inaantok pa rin ako. Okay. So, first item, we have hydrofluoric acid, which is aqueous, water, which is liquid, hydronium ion, H3O, aqueous, and fluoride anion, aqueous. So, sabi sa akin, I have to write the equilibrium constant, Kp and Kc, if applicable no, sa aking equation. So again, paano ulit sinusulat yung K? K is yung products na sa taas, and then yung reactant na sa baba. Okay? And then ano ginagawa sa mga coefficient like 2? Ginagawa mo silang exponent. Okay? Ginagawa siyang exponent ng amounts ng product and reactant. When I say amount, that is the molarity or the pressure, especially for gas. Okay? So, yung Kc, yan yung concentration lang. Yung Kp, yan yung pressure lang. So, may nakikita ba akong gas sa aking equation 1? Wala. Puro aqueous and liquid lang. So, meaning I don't have Kp. What I have is Kc because I have aqueous species. So, yun yung susulat ko. Kc lang. Okay? So, Kc lang isusulat ko. Meaning concentration. So, again, that is a fraction. May numerator, may denominator. Ano yung nasa numerator? Products. So, what are my species no? Sa product side? You have your hydronium ion. So, I write here the square bracket of H3O plus and the F minus, the fluoride anion. Okay? So, again, you multiply them. Ha? You don't add. No? You just multiply. And then, ano ulit gagawin kapag may coefficient? Kunwari, ito may 4. Gagawin mo, you may raise it to 4. Okay? Kunwari, ito 3. Hindi gawin mo siyang cube. Okay? Yung ating mga coefficients, we make them the exponents. And then yung nasa baba, tulungan nyo ako. Ano yung susulat ko sa baba? Parehas sila or isa lang? Ano kaya susulat ko sa baba? Parehas ba sila or yung isa lang sa kanila? And ano yon? Ano yung susulat ko? So, pwede kayo mag-type sa chat box. HF lang po. Bakit HF lang? Kasi may water. And the water in liquid is not considered in the equilibrium constant. So, yung HF lang. Okay? Ano, very good. Galing. Nasaan yung house? Ayan. So, HF. And, so that's the answer. Ganun lang ka-easy. Okay? So, the species for your products on the numerator, you multiply them. If they have coefficient, you make them their exponents. And then in the denominator, those are the reactants. And then, kapag may solid liquid, you do not write them. Okay? We don't talk about liquids and solids when it comes to equilibrium constants. Okay naman sa number 2. At tatanungin ko muna kayo sa second equation. May Kp and Kc kaya dyan? Or Kc lang? Ano kaya yung sagot sa number 2? Second equation. Kc lang ba siya or may Kc and Kp siya? Yes, okay. So, tama kayo. Sabi niya, Kc and Kp kasi gas. Yes, tama yon. So, kayo naman magsulat ng second equation. You gave me both Kc and Kp. Okay? And nakikita nyo na wala tayong solid or liquid dyan. They are all in gas. Meaning, all of them will be shown in your equilibrium expression. Okay? So, kindly give me the Kc and the Kp. Kahit isa lang sagutan niya. Tignan natin sa chat box. By the way, alam ko may student ako na nag-post sa 1FEU na yung may Valentine's daw. Sabi ko, wala, siya pala yun. Ganun lang. Congrats sa kanya. Ano kaya yung KC and KP natin? Chat niya na sa chat box habang ako ay tumitingin sa FEU page natin. Kaaga-aga may mga naghahampas ng drums. Okay, so for KC, we have NO2 squared all divided by NO squared O2. Okay, so that's correct. Okay, tama yan. Now, about the KP. Okay, as KC, ganun, tama yan. NO2 squared. And then you have the NO squared O2. Yung KP, ganun din. Ano lang gagawin mo? Instead of using square bracket, what you will use? Antayin ko yung answer niya. Okay, so ano sa KP? Anyone? Nasulat nyo yung KP natin. Isa lang babaguhin nyo dyan sa sinagot ni Mariel. Okay. Sa KC sinagot ni Mariel. Then, may isa na lang kayo papalitan. Magiging KP na siya. What is that? Okay, wala pa rin nag-update sa chat box. So, ako na lang magsasagot. Okay. So, KP, ganun din, no? Same lang. Ano lang papalitan niya? Yung square bracket, gagawin nyo lang letter P. Okay? So, ganun lang. Paano nyo isusulat yan? Ganito lang. P, tas nasa baba yung formula. Tapos nasa taas yung exponent. Okay? So, ganun lang. Nasa baba parati yung formula. Then yung exponent, nasa taas na. Okay? So, that's how you write the equilibrium expressions. Okay? So, for second item, or for the second equation, we both have gas. All of them are in gas. So, meaning we both have Kc and Kp. Kapag Kc, it is in the square bracket. Kapag Kp, it is in the letter P symbol, meaning pressure. Okay? Ito concentration. Ako na dito sa letter C. Okay, or sa third equation kasi ang haba eh. So as you can see, they are all, 3 of them are in aqueous phase while 1 is in liquid. Again, we don't talk about liquids. So ibig sabihin, we only have Kc. Kasi puro aqueous lang eh. So it can be written as CH3, COO, C2H5. That's a denominator. You just copy everything. Same lang. Okay? So again, if you have a liquid, don't write it. Kapag solid yan, don't write it as well. So, given that, punta na tayo sa worksheet. Okay? So, pero screenshot nyo muna. So, I'll give you 5 seconds to take a screenshot. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Hopefully, na-screenshot nyo na or picture. Then let's try to answer the worksheet. Okay, so I'll upload this sa Canvas. Don't worry. I-upload ko rin siya, ha? Okay. Saan yung mouse? Ayan. So, zoom in ko na lang. Tell me how to write the equilibrium constant for the following reactions. Okay, so I'll just use a whiteboard so that we can write something. Dito na lang to. Okay, so sige, sagutan natin. Iburahin ko lang to. Hindi, nagamit ko yan bukas. Let's create a new whiteboard. And so, how should I write letter A? Okay, ano kaya gagawin ko sa A? So, ganito lang. Yung what do you call this? Yung coefficient, yung 3 lang. Okay? So, ito lang yung magiging exponent. Okay? Then, itong AG, PO4, 3 minus, and AG, ayan, so yung dalawang yun, naka-square bracket because they are in aqueous. And then, yung AG3, PO4, should you write it? Hindi dapat. Kasi, siya ay solid. So, kunwari, ayan, sa letter A. Ako muna, ha. So, for letter A, paano ko isusulat yan? Ganito. So, sulat mo, since aqueous and solid yan, again, hindi mo papansinin yung solid, you just write the aqueous. So, since puro aqueous lang tayo, that's Kc. Okay? So, again, for aqueous, that's just Kc. Okay, so Kc. Okay. In the product side, what we have here is solid silver 1 phosphate, okay? Or silver phosphate. So, solid eh. So, ibig sabihin wala kang isusulat. So, kapag wala kang isusulat, you just write 1. Okay? Yan. Pag itong 1 as a denominator, kahit hindi mo na isulat yung buong denominator, okay? Kahit numerator na lang ilagay mo. But since yung numerator natin ay yung 1 mismo, you need to write it. Okay? Pag yung numerator yung 1, kailangan mo talaga isulat. Pero kapag yung denominator mo yung 1, kahit hindi na isulat. Okay? So, sa baba, you have your AG, positive, yan yung charge, and then you have 3 as your coefficient, gagawin mo siyang exponent. Then yung PO4, wala siyang coefficient, so you just copy everything. Okay? Ayan. So, ganyan yung pagsulat ng Kc. Again, we did not write silver phosphate because it is solid. Pag yung numerator nyo yung walang isusulat, you just write 1. So, denominator, ganun din. Okay? Pero again, for denominator, there is really no need to write the denominator if it is just 1. But if it is numerator that possesses no species at all to be written, and you indicate 1. Okay? So, yun yung sagot ko sa letter A. Okay naman sa letter B. Okay. So, letter B is combustion of benzene. So, give me the answer. Ayan. So, give me the answer for letter B. Dalawa yung sagot dyan. It's either Kc or Kp. So, ano kaya yung proper way of writing it? So, I'll wait for your response. Siguro I'll give you 2 minutes. Then, kapag wala pa rin nagsagot, edi ako na lang magsasagot. By the way, share ko lang, no? If you are planning to go outside, just be careful lang. Okay? Over the weekends kasi I'm not at home eh. So, nasa labas lang ako. Ayun. Super daming tao. And based on the data naman, okay, bumababa na naman COVID cases, but you still have to be very careful, no? Always do not forget yung hand sanitizers, alcohol when going outside. Tapos kung ayaw nyo makakita ng flowers, edi wag na lang lumabas. Kasi pag lumabas kayo, sobrang daming flowers. Ayun lang. Ano pa ba? Kung mag-i-Intramuros kayo, yesterday I was in Intramuros, no, na magbabike sana ako sa Intra. Alam niyo yung bum bike. Pagpunta ko doon ang dami-daming tao. Mga kabataan din. Feeling ko mga magfe-face to face classes din yun, kaya sila nandun. Ayun. Ang dami. Like, nakadalawang simba ka na. Tapos hindi pa rin talaga sila natatapos yung pila. Hindi na lang ako nag-bike. Ayun. Anyway, kapag face to face pala, no? Pag wala face to face na kayo, try nyo yung mga ganun, no? Explore kayo ng Intramuros. Mainit, minsan marumi. Pero historic yan. Ano pa ba? Kapag nag-face to face, san yung mga to-go places? Ako, punta kayo dun sa Espanya. I don't know the name of the street eh. Pero tawid kayo dun sa sa UST side. Tapos yung first na kanto doon, kaliwa kayo. Bandang dulo, meron tong mga ihaw. Isang ₱100 mo doon, sobrang busog ka for the entire day. Naalala ko dati, 50 pesos lang gagastusin ko din. Busog na busog ako. 2 rice, tas sobrang daming karne. Although not always cause baka ma-cancer. So, ano nasagot niya? 32 na pala. Ang dami ko sinabi. Ano yung KC and KP for letter B? Okay. Anyone who wants to share? Kung hindi pa kayo confident, that's okay lang. Okay lang na. Magiging confident din kayo eventually. Upload ko naman tong worksheet sa Canvas na. So don't worry. Sige, so ako na lang muna ulit na. Feeling ko hindi pa kayo confident sa pagsulat ng K. Ayun, meron na. Sabi ni Adrian, yes, that's correct. Tama si Adrian. Ganun lang. Ganun ka-easy. Okay? So, KC pa rin tayo. So, since yung aking equation, may liquid siya na dalawa, yung benzene, pati yung water, hindi ko siya isusulat. Ang susulat ko lang, yung nakagas. Okay? And lagi tandaan, kapag solid liquid, we don't talk about them. Okay? You don't write them. Okay? So, yan. For the numerator, we have CO2. Okay? Yung product, nasa CO2. So, CO2. And then, 6 yung coefficient niya. So, raised to 6 siya. And then, for the reactant, okay? So, may liquid, may gas. Yung gas lang isusulat mo. So, that's oxygen. And then, yung exponent mo is 15/2. Okay? So, kung ano yung coefficient, regardless kung yan ay fraction, that's your exponent. Okay? So, tama si Adrian. Ganun din kapag KP, no? So, anong gagawin mo kapag KP? Yung score bracket, palitan mo lang ng letter P. So, P, then yung formula nasa baba, and then yung exponent, ayun. So, ganun din dito, P, then yung formula nasa baba, yung exponent nasa taas. So, kapag nagsagot kayo ng worksheet for chapter 3, ganito din. Don't worry, ipopost ko na maaga yung worksheet sa chapter 3. Ayan. So, ganun lang na. Easy. Letter C, okay naman. Hopefully, confident na kayo sa letter C. 2 minutes ulit. Tapos magkukwento na naman ako about kaganapan. Ano pa ba? Nasagutan yung letter C, tapos magkukwento lang ako. Magbubukas na yung Star City. After 2 years na nagsara. Feeling ko yung nasunog yun, lang yun, for insurance, for upgrade. Pero bukas na siya. And speaking of brides, no, yung nakita ko sa TikTok kagabi, bago matulog. Yung sa MOA, yung umiikot-ikot, yung parang kang ginagawa kang labada na tinutuyo sa araw. Yung ginagawa tumirik, nakakatakot. And then may na-injure pala na tao dun. Ayan na, may sagot na si Chris. Di ba? Effective na dumadaldal ako. Nagkakaroon kayo ng answers. Okay. So, Kristen, sabi niya, Casey. Yan, na kayo sa tama yung sa answer. Yung KP kaya, no? Sige, mag-isip kayo maigi sa KP. Kung paano kayo susulat yung KP niyan. Pero Casey, tama. No? Tama yung sagot ni Christine. So, Casey, yung solid liquid mong isusulat. So, basically, in the numerator or in the product side, you just write letter E. Okay? So, that's the concentration of E. Raised to 3 because E, yung coefficient niya ay 3. Species mo ay E. Yung D, hindi mo isusulat because it is in solid. Now, how about the denominator? Okay. So, for the denominator, yung gas, aqueous, isusulat mo, but the liquid, hindi. Okay? So, for A, that will be A, then square. And for B, that's just letter B. Okay? So, tama. Pero yung KP, paano kaya yung KP? Ganito. Di ba may aqueous species ka? Hindi mo siya susulat sa KP. So, ibig sabihin, ang susulat mo lang sa KP ay yung gas. Okay? Kasi, wala namang gas yung aqueous. Wala namang pressure yung aqueous. So, you just write only those in the gas phase. So, ano sa tingin niyo yung magiging answer? Ang magiging answer natin ay same lang with KC pero wala yung B. Okay? So, that's just the pressure of E cubed divided by the pressure of A squared. Wala yung B. Because again, B is in the aqueous phase. Okay? So, B and then A. Yan. Okay? So, correct si equation. Naglalambing yung aking mingming sa lap. Kaya hindi ako makagalaw. Anyway, so yan yung inyong mga pwede pag-practicean. Actually, super dami pa niyan. Okay? And then may answer na yan sa mga susunod na page. Okay? Yan. Okay? So yan na. Tignan nyo. E cube, A square, B. Pero kapag KP, E lang and then A. Sobrang dami yan. Papost ko na lang to sa Canvas. Hintayin nyo na lang after this class. Okay, so yan. I think marunong na magsulat ng equilibrium constant. Ngayon, siguro magtataka kayo, no? So, di ba may equations wherein yung equilibrium constant, dalawa. Are they related? Yes, ang sagot, no? Yes, they are related. Bakit? Kasi nga, they came from one equation. So, kung parehas sila galing sa iisang equation, that means they should be related. Meaning, the value of Kp must be somehow related with the value of Kc. And that can be obtained using this equation. So, if given ang Kp, Okay? Sorry, if given ng KC, you can solve for the KP and vice versa. Pag given yung KP, you can solve for KC. Pag given yung KC, you can solve for KP. Pwede sila magkabaliktaran. Okay? Pwede mo sila i-solve just using this equation. What you need to do lang is this one. You need to multiply this by the R and the T. What's R? R is your gas constant. Okay? Ito yung 0.08206. Walang unit na. Walang unit siya. It's just a gas constant without unit. And then yung T, that's just the temperature in Kelvin, but do not write K. Okay, so naka-Kelvin siya pero hindi mo susulat yung Kelvin. Okay, 300 Kelvin should be written as 300 lang. Okay, what's the delta N gas? Okay, so the delta N gas is this one. Okay, so dito na lang. So that is the moles of gas in the product minus the moles of gas in the reactant. Okay? So, pag pinag-subtract mo yung moles ng gas in the product and then yung moles ng gas sa reactant, you get your delta N gas. Okay? So, let me just write a hypothetical equation. Kunwari, so this is 2A gas plus 3B aqueous in equilibrium with 5C gas. Okay? Suppose I have this equation. 2 2A in the gas phase, 3B in the aqueous phase, and that is in equilibrium with 5C in the gas phase. So how I will get the delta N gas? Okay? So, paano makukuha yung delta N gas? So again, that's the moles of gas in the product minus the moles of gas in the reactant. So in the product side, what I only have is meron lang ako yung 5 lang. Okay? So yun lang yung moles of gas in the product. But for the reactant side, ano yung moles of gas ko lang? Ito lang. So yun 2 lang. Okay? So if I subtract them, so 5 minus 2, that's 3. So yun yung delta N gas ko. So 3. Okay? So ganun yung paggawa ha. Ganun tayo magde-determine. So yung nasa product minus the reactant. Kapag hindi yan gas phase, huwag mo pansinin. For example, this one, the aqueous, hindi ko siya pinansin. Kasi hindi naman siya mole ng gas eh. Only the mole of gas will be considered. Siguro magtataka kaya, sir, paano po kapag parehas silang gas? Okay? Paano po pag parehas sila gas? Eh di, isasama mo si 3 dito. Okay? So 2 plus 3. Okay? Pero kapag yung isa lang yung gas, eh di, wag mo siya isasama. Okay? So, ganun. Eto question. Ang makasagot, plus 1. Kala mo malaki na. Yung isang makasagot, plus 1 sa quiz 2. Quiz 3 pala. Kahit matagal pa to. Okay, ang makasagot nito, plus 1, bukod sa discussion board points ninyo. Okay, so ibig sabihin, makaka-plus 2 kayo for quiz 3. Kailan ang KC equal sa KP? Ito, tinatanong ko to madalas sa quiz eh. Ngayon, tatanong ko na siya sa inyo. When is KP equal to KC? When is KP equal to KC? Is it all the time? Or may something else. Makasagot, plus 1. Kapag wala pa rin makasagot, gagawin natin plus 2. Gandun lang. Kasi 15 points lang yung quiz eh. When is KP equal to KC? Kailan ang KP equal sa KC? Tingin sa equation. Bigyan ko kayo 1 minute. By the way, breaking from Varsitarian. CNN Philippines presidential and vice presidential debate will be held at UST Quad PAV. May debate February 27 and 26. So manood tayo ng debate. Because this election is the most important equation in equation. The most important election in our lifetime for now. Ayan, may dalawang nakasagot. Ala. Plus 1 lang ha, kasi nakasagot agad eh. Damihan ko na yung plus 1. 5 yung nagsagot agad. Sige, 5 yung makakuha ng plus 1. At lang. Pipicturean ko lang yung names ha. So, makakuha ng plus 1. Ang paalala nyo sa akin pag di ko siya na-add sa quiz 3 ha. Si Miriam, si Krisha, si Renz, Princess, and si Ezra. Paalala nyo sa akin kapag di ko na pag di ko na add sa quiz. Okay. Kapag same yung amount ng gas sa reactant and product side, pag pinag-subtract mo yun, equal yun sa 0. And always remember ano sabi ng algebra. Anything raised to 0 is 1. So meaning, if this is 0, if this becomes 0, meaning Kc is equal to Kp. Diba? Kasi mawawala yung RT form. Okay? Yung RT, pag ni-raise mo sa 0, kahit ano man yung value niyan, it will always be equal to 1. Okay? So, when delta N gas is equal to 0, that's the time wherein your Kp is equal to Kc. Okay? Kasi according to algebra, anything raised to 0 is 1. And the delta N gas will only be 0 if the moles of gas in the product and reactant side are the same. Okay? Pag same sila, dun lang siya magiging 0. Ayan, meron na kayong sagot sa quiz, no? So, ganun yung idea. Always ini-include ko yan sa quiz. Para nang maalala nyo yung mga algebra. Yung mga raised to 0 equals to 1, something else. Okay? Ayan. So, good work. Dahil dyan, I think dito na lang tayo matatapos. Okay. So, let's do some operations. So, let's write the equilibrium constant and then let's do some basic calculation. Paki-ready yung calcu kasi magsasolve tayo. Madali lang naman, don't worry. Sabi dito, the equilibrium constant Kp for the decomposition of phosphorus pentachloride to phosphorus trichloride and molecular chlorine is found to be 105 at 250 degrees Celsius. If the equilibrium partial pressures of PCl5 and PCl3 are 0.973 atm and 0.548 atm respectively, what's the equilibrium partial pressure of Cl2? Ang daming sinabi. Pero ang tinatanong lang, given yung pressure ng partial pressure ng PCl5 and PCl3, hanapin mo daw yung kay Cl2. Pwede ba yun? Pwede. Okay. So, ganito gagawin nyo kapag equilibrium. Sasabihin naman kung ano yung version ng K ang gagamitin. Sometimes Kp, sinasabi agad. Sometimes Kc agad. Or minsan naman, you just need to look into the units. Kikita mo ATM yung mga given na pressure. Sabi sabihin, KP talaga yung gagawin mo. Okay? So look into the context of the problem, and then once you have the context, you can write the appropriate equilibrium constant. So yan, ang context natin dito puro pressure. So I will just write KP. Hindi ko nang susulat yung KC kasi hindi ko naman need sayang yung tinta ng ballpen ko, di ba? Yan. So what's the KP? Do you have the equation? You write it down. Okay? So that's the pressure of Cl3, PCl3 times the pressure of Cl2 and the pressure of PCl5. Okay? So yan. Wala tayong mga coefficients, so raised to 1 sila lahat. And then ano pa yung mga given ang pressure ng PCl5, which is this one. Ito yung PCl5, so this is 0.973. Pressure ng PCl3, ito daw 0.548. Kung kaya nyo nasagutan, sige, unahan nyo na ako. Kasi madaldal ako 548. And then yung KP given na rin, no? Nasabi dito sa first sentence, the KP is 105. So basically, given yung KP, given yung pressure ng PCl3, given yung pressure ng PCl5, hanapin mo na lang to. That can be solved by algebra. Okay? So just simple simple manipulation lang. Okay? So we do simple solving lang. So since we are looking for the PCl2, okay, we just have to write an equation wherein siya lang yung natitira. So meaning, yung PCl5 and yung PCl3, I need to transpose them. Okay? So ito, lipat ko sa numerator. Ito, lipat ko sa denominator. So just transpose everything. Okay? So the equation will now be pressure of Cl2. Okay? And yung PCl5, katabi na niya si KP. Okay, so pressure of PCl5 times the KP. And then yung pressure ng PCl3, nasa baba na. Okay? Basic algebra lang siya ha. So, cross-multiply lang. Kasi I want to solve for the Cl2. So, siya lang yung matitira dapat. And, since you have the equation, you can plug in whatever is given na. Okay, so the pressure of PCl5, 0973. Ano kaya sagot? Ayan, may sagot na sila. KP is 105 and then 0.548. Calculate tayo. Kahit basic calculate lang, pwede naman. So, 0.973, 105 divided by 0.548. So, 1.86 na. So, 1.86 ang pressure. Hindi, for 3 decimal places yung mga given eh. So, dapat 3 decimal places din yung answer natin. 1864. Okay? 1864. Ganito, tandaan, kapag pag-involve yung K, huwag nyo na isulat yung unit. Okay? For example, ito, may K sa equation. Huwag mo isulat yung unit. Pero since alam mo na hinahanap yung pressure, edi ang unit niyan at the end, dapat ATM. Okay? Kasi hindi sila nagka-cancel out eh. Hindi nagka-cancel out yung unit dito. Kaya, ang ginawa na lang na remedy ng mga chemist, edi wag na lang isulat. Diba? Pakatamad din, no? Eh, hindi naman kasi kailangan mag-cancel out yung units. Okay? So, yan. Basta alam nyo, kapag pressure ang tinatanong, ang value na napindot nyo sa calculator ay naka-ATM siya. And kapag concentration naman yan, naka-molarity agad yan. Automatically. Okay? Dali lang na. Ayan. Next meeting, iiyak na ulit tayo. Let's try this one. Sige, okay naman. The equilibrium constant Kp, again, Kp susulat nyo kasi sinabi. For the reaction, yan is 158. Calculate pressure of O2 if the pressure of nitrogen dioxide is 0.4 atm and the pressure of nitrogen monoxide is 0.27 atm. Hanapin nyo daw yung pressure ni oxygen given the other pressure. Kung ano yung ginawa natin kanina, yun din yan. Okay? Same lang. Habang nasa-solve kayo, magkakwento ulit ako. The last time, natong weekends, kaya hindi agad ako nakapag-reply sa mga question ninyo. Nag-spa ako. Grabe yung leeg ko, pinatunog, no? Ginanon. Tumunog yung leeg. Sabi ko, wow. Akala ko sa Facebook ko lang mapapanood yung tumutunog yung leeg. Ako rin pala. Ginanon, tas tumunog. Sarap. Kasi I experience stiff neck nitong nakaraan. So naisip ko nung weekend, mag-spa kaya ako. Mag-spa. Ginanon. Tumunog siya. Dati kasi yung likod lang pinapatunog sa akin. Ngayon leeg na rin. Ano ba ikakwento ko? Habang nagsasolve kayo. 158 talaga. By the way, no, kapag gas, malalaki talaga yung K value niya. Especially at higher temperature. Ganun sila ka-OA. Yun yung malaking difference. Kapag gas, super laki ng K. Kapag kapag aqueous, mga maliliit naman yung kanilang K. So yes, 158 siya. So the greater the temperature, the greater the K value. Malaki talaga yung sagot. Don't worry, ang setting naman nito is industrial na. Yung mga 1,000 pressure. Yan yung mga nasa pabrika na. So normal lang. Normal lang na malalaki talaga yung value. Okay? Gusto ko lang kayo masanay sa parang ganito ba yung answer? Kasi minsan magdududa ka talaga na. So yeah, ganun. Dalawa yung answers niya magkaiba. So tignan natin, no? So sige, magsusulat lang ako. So Kp, for the equation, it is the pressure of NO, then square, then pressure O2 square. And then, sorry, hindi pala siya square. And then for the NO2 square, ayun. Okay, so square to square yun, tas ito hindi square. Okay, so yun yung ating Kp. We are asked to solve for oxygen. So basically cross multiply everything. So you have Kp times the pressure for NO2 square. Lalabas ko na lang yung square, ha? Parehas lang naman yun eh. And then the pressure for NO square. Okay, so Kp is 158 times the NO2 square, asan yun? 0.4 square. And for NO, that's 0.27 square. Medyo malaki makukuha nating answer. Uh, don't worry. Basta tama yung derivation, okay naman tayo dyan. Ito, cycle na gagamitin ko ha. Kasi may mga exponent. So, 158 times 0.4 square divided by 0.27 square. And in a square. 346. Ayun na, mag-ingat sa square ha. Baka makalimutan. So, the pressure of oxygen is 346, no? Grabe. Atmosphere yan, ah. Okay. Ilang decimal places yung hindi, okay na, 346. Ayun yung sagot, 346 something. Screenshot nyo na lang. Hindi ko na isusulat para next page agad tayo. Okay. Sinasanay ko kayo na may mga ganyang values talaga, especially for gas, no? Okay? It just means na super daming products kaysa reactant. Okay? Mas maraming products kaysa reactant. Okay, sa inyo yung sagot. May problem pa kaya tayo dito? Ito naman, it is about Kc and Kp. This one's interesting. Kasi basahin natin yung problem. Yan. Basahin natin yung problem. Methanol is manufactured industrially by the reaction carbon monoxide plus 2 moles of hydrogen gas in equilibrium with methanol. Okay? So ito yung typical way of producing methanol, which is used in chemistry laboratories, no? So i-react na lang carbon monoxide with hydrogen gas to produce methanol. Alam nyo ba? Share ko lang ha, bago na naman tayo tumuloy. Ang dami kong title, sorry. Okay. Share ko lang. Kasi, may mga research about carbon capture. Diba? Mga carbon dioxide capture. And sabi nila, i-convert daw nila yon into glucose. Familiar ba kayo sa ganun type of research? Gusto ko maging aware din kayo sa mga research, kaya madaldal ako. Okay, carbon capture to fuel. Okay, so tingin tayo ng journal. Pag naglagay kayo ng plus sa dulo ng Google, lalabas puro journal articles. Ayan. So, alam nyo na gagawin nyo pag nag-RRL kayo. So, lagyan nyo ng plus journal sa dulo. Okay. Anyway, tingin tayo sa pictures ng journal. May nakita akong very interesting diagram eh. Hindi ko nga lang maalala kung saan ko nakita yan. Pero anyway, dito ay CO2 yung ginagamit. Okay? Dito naman CO2 ginawa siyang carbonate, and then eventually yung carbon dioxide, yung carbonate na yon naging substrate, for example methanol. Okay, teka lang. So kaya anyway, so may nakita akong isang paper eh. Kalimutan ko lang kung ano title. So sabi sa paper na yon, it captures carbon monoxide then, and medyo same lang yung ganitong reaction. No? So from carbon monoxide gagawing alcohol, then eventually yung alcohol na yon i-increase nila yung carbon chain. Okay, they will increase the carbon chain by absorbing more CO2 or CO. Tapos magiging sugar na yon, alcohol, which can be used as fuel. Pwede siya maging hydrocarbon, pwede siya for gasolina. And then, eventually, pwede siya maging sugar. Okay? Just like what plants do for us. Yung mga carbon dioxide natin, ginagawa nilang sugar. Okay? Ayan. Merong carbon tech na ibabaon daw po sa lupa. Yung CO2 ipapasok niya sa lupa. Pwede. Gagawin niyang minerals yan. Mga carbonates. Like calcium carbonate. Although, to be honest with you, no, if we rely on those technologies, wala masyadong effect yan compared to what trees are doing, no. So, the best answer to the problem with CO2 is to save trees, no, as much as possible. No? Let's try to recycle everything. Kaya nga buti nga nung eto siguro hindi naman sa gino-glorify natin yung pandemic, no. But siguro kasi dumami yung digital na papers, no, compared sa printed papers na before pandemic. So I think nakatipid tayo ng puno okay, during this time. No, kasi hindi na tayo nagpiprint, no, picture na lang. Ako rin puro screenshot na lang din mga notes ko Ayun, so at least nakakatipid tayo sa puno. Kaya, wag na lang mag-aral para tipid talaga. De joke lang. Kailangan nyo mag-aral kasi kayo yung magsasagot ng CO2 problems natin. Pag hindi nag-aral, hindi pwede wala talagang papel. Pero wag nyo gagawin yan. Mag-aral lang kasi inaasahan tayo ng world. Anyway, given yung KC, okay, given yung KC, malaki din yung KC, no? Ano daw yung KP? Ganito lang. Ano uli equation kanina? Okay, KP equals KC RT raised to delta N gas. Okay, so yan yung equation na KP equals KC RT delta N gas. Verify ko lang. Okay, so KP ngayon nasa kaliwa. Okay, baka mapagbaliktad nyo yung magbabago yung answer. So, KP equals KC RT delta N gas. So, dito ko lilista yung given. Okay? So, given. R, para hindi nyo makalimutan, 008206. Walang unit. Temperature is 220 degrees Celsius. Gawin nyo lang Kelvin yan. So, plus 273, di ba? So, 220 plus 273.15. I-add nyo yung 0.15. Muscle memory ko na yun So, gawin nyo na rin. So, 493.15. 493.15. 493.15. Okay. Ayan. So, may R na tayo, may T na tayo. Delta N gas na lang. Okay. Ano yung delta N gas natin? Sige, kayo. Tell me what's the delta N gas. Okay, so N gas product minus N gas reactant. Product minus reactant. Ano kaya yung delta N gas natin? Kung nagtataka kayo na negative yung answer, yes, negative. Anong negative? 1 minus 3, negative. Yes, okay lang. Okay lang yung negative. Okay? So, in the product side, we only have 1 mole of gas. And then in the reactant side, so dalawa yung gas ko. So, basically, I will just add their coefficient. So, 1 plus 2, 3. Wow, galing. Ayan, so 3 moles ng gas. So, bale, product minus reactant, so 1 minus 3, negative 2. So, okay lang yan, negative 2. So, and I have everything. Okay, so 10.5 times R, 08206 times temperature, 493.15, and then raised to the delta N gas, so that's negative 2. So KP is calculate Siyempre, hindi ko kaya i-mental yan. Nandito na lang. So, 10.5 0.08206 times 493 raised to negative 2. Okay? Equal sign. So, ito yung KP natin. Ang liit ng KP niya ngayon. 6.42 times 10 raised to negative 3. Okay? Did you get the same answer? Verify ko lang. Baka mamaya nagkamali ako ng pindot eh. 10.5 times 0.806 times 493.15 close parenthesis raised to negative 2. So yeah, ito talaga yung sagot. Okay? So ibig sabihin, kapag given yung KP, pwede ma-solve talaga yung KC and vice versa. Okay? So kunwari, baka magtaka kayo sa quiz na quiz 3 pa naman, next week pa to. Kunwari nakita nyo, yung problem, ang mga given concentration, pero ang tinatanong pressure. Di kailangan mo i-convert yung concentration K, yung KC to KP. Ganun. So medyo ganun yung mga trick na ginagawa ko dito sa mga quiz na to. So iba yung given ko, pero iba yung hinahanap. Don't worry, kapag pressure concentration, madali lang i-convert. Ito, yes, scientific notation natin yung final answer. Kasi pag dinesimal natin to, ang daming zero. Laki na yan, 6.42. Also, kapag pag naggawa kayo ng problem set, sabi ko dun sa instruction, ibabox nyo siya. Kasi alam nyo, ang ginagawa ko minsan, tumitingin na lang ako sa answer. Tapos nagpe-pretend ako na tinignan ko yung solution. Kapag nakita ko mali yung, kapag na-feel ko may mali sa solution, minsan kasi mafe-feel mo na lang, ay may mali dito. Ayan, titignan ko talaga siya. Pero pag feel ko tama naman, diretso ako sa answer agad. Sa pakibox also, okay lang yung handwritten, basta malinis yung sulat. Pwede rin naman typewritten. You don't need to write the questions and just give us the answer na lang, the solution. Okay? So 10 items yon. Madali nga lang yun eh. So kayang-kaya nyo yun. Okay na tayo dyan. This one. Ito. Challenge to. Consider the reaction at 395 Kelvin. The partial pressure of each gas is 0.265 atm. Calculate Kp and Kc. Ito, mabilis lang yan. Each gas, ang pressure daw ay 0.265. Ibig sabihin, hanapin mo yung Kp, Kc. Sige, give me the answer. Yung Kp muna, kasi yun yung una mong masosolve eh. Kasi yun ang given yung pressure. So, Kp muna masosolve mo. Hindi lang pala FEU yung back to school, no? Even yung ibang high school. Kumusta na kaya yun sila? Ano kaya ginagawa nila sa FEU? May answer na si Mariel. Tignan natin. Ba, check nyo yung answer din ha. Kung same kayo. Sorry. Sinisipon ako eh. Okay. Partial pressure of each gas. So, ito lang naman yung gas. So, sila lang yung may value. Okay. So, Kp, that's pressure. The pressure of ammonia and the pressure of hydrogen sulfide. Yung ammonium sulfide, hindi ko na isusulat ha. Kasi solid din eh. So, hindi ko siya isusulat. This is 0.265 and another 265. Okay, so you multiply 0.265 by itself lang. 0.265 square. So 0.70225 or ano na lang 0.702. Okay? So 0.07 ay tama ba? 0. Kala ko kulang ako ng 0. Okay, so that's our Kp. And hinahanap Kc. So again, Kp equals Kc RT delta N gas. Now we are looking for the Kc. So cross multiply mo yung RT delta N gas. So you'll get Kc equals Kp over RT delta N gas. Okay, so ito yung equation ha. Baka mamaya mapagbaliktad nyo yung Kc-Kp ha. Mali yun. Ayan. Mag-ingat lang sa cross multiplication. So Kp is 0.0702. By the way, you don't have to worry sa mga decimal point. No? Kasi multiple choice naman to pagdating ng quiz and exam. Basta yung closest yung pipiliin nyo. Okay, again yung R 008206. Yung temperature naka-Kelvin na, so just copy it. And then what's the delta N gas? Okay, so on the reactant you have 0 mole ng gas. In the product side you have 2 moles ng gas. So delta N gas is mole gas product minus mole gas reactant. Okay? So product minus reactant parate ha. Product minus reactant. Okay, so that's 2 minus 0. I did 2. So square siya. Okay, laging tandaan yung mga equations. Ayan. Okay, 0.0702. Then sa baba, parenthesis, 0.8206. Mali, 0.8206 times 395. Close parenthesis, then square. Kp 0.072 divided by 0.08206 times 395 ng square. So ito yung value natin. Sir, disregard na yung solid po kahit yun. Ano lang, yung gas lang papansinin natin. Okay? So since this is solid, so 0 siya. Okay? Ayan. Kapag solid or liquid or aqueous, you don't count it, just the gas form. Okay, so this is the answer. Kp divided by RT delta N gas. So 0.0702 divided by 0.08206 8206 times 395 square. 6.68 times 10 raised to negative. Okay, be careful lang sa ano ha, exponents, sa cross multiplication, and sa ano, sa equation mismo. Oopsie, pangit ng box ko. Yeah. So, be careful lang, no? Ito yung problem with equilibrium. Madali lang talaga siya i-calculate. Pero there are times na medyo nakakalito talaga siya. Kasi minsan baka mapag-switch mo yung KC, KP, no? And then, makalimutan mo i-consider yung isang chemical species, makalimutan mo yung coefficient. No? So, isang mistake lang, damay-damay na yung mga answers. Kaya, ano na lang, ingat-ingat tayo. Okay? So, yan. Supposedly, i-cover ko tong equilibrium operations, na. Basahin ko na lang. Okay. We still have 9 minutes. Okay. So, yun yung equilibrium constant. Okay, so basically, yun na yun. Equilibrium, again, is the state wherein the direction of the reaction is equal, meaning may forward and reverse reaction. Same yung rate of reaction, meaning there is a balance, no? And if your system is unbalanced, no, then iba-iba yung value ng K. So, if the value of your K is 1, ibig sabihin siya ay in equilibrium. Kapag hindi 1, so meaning one side of the reaction is favored over the other. So now, ito last part na to. Daanan ko lang, then next meeting kuha tayo ng example. Okay? From the worksheet. Pero i-upload ko rin naman yung answers sa worksheet. So, mare-review nyo na rin siya. Okay? Pero dadaanan pa rin namin. So, there are 4 operations involving equilibrium constant. Okay? So, the first operation is when you reverse the reaction. When I say reverse the reaction, yung reactant ginawa mong product, yung product ginawa mong reactant. What will happen to the K? Okay? So, for example, ang K ko dito is NO2 sa taas, N2O2 sa baba. But when I flip the equation, what will happen? The fraction will also flip. Okay? Magfe-flip lang siya. So, literally, your original K will become the reciprocal, okay, for the reverse reaction. Okay? So, again, kapag pinagbaliktad yung equation, when you reverse the reaction, what will happen? Magre-reverse din yung K. So, parang yan. Nagpalit din sila ng position. So, meaning, kapag nag-reverse yung iyong equation, your K becomes the reciprocal. Okay? And it becomes the reciprocal of the original constant. Okay, so kunwari, ang K mo dito, K1 is 2. E di yung K2 mo, o yung K negative 1 pala. Kapag K1 is 2, what will be your K negative 1 or the inverse? That will be 0.5. Okay. Bakit? Kasi maging reciprocal siya nito. So 1 over 2 na siya. Or 0.5. May mga ganyan sa quiz. No? Kunwari, K1 is 10. What's K negative 1? Adi 1 over 10. 0.1 yung sagot. Okay? Just remember, when your equation is flipped, no, pinagbaliktad lang sila ng position, the K reverses then. Nagiging reciprocal lang siya. Okay? For the second operation, it's about balancing of your equilibrium constant. Yung second and third equation. So, kapag minultiply mo lahat by 2, yung equation, it seems that the original K becomes squared. Okay? Kapag minultiply mo naman lahat by 3, it will appear that your original K becomes cube. Okay? So, ganun. Kasi tignan nyo, NO2, ito. So, NO2, N2O2. Kapag times 2 ko yung coefficients, yung exponents ko ay magiging 4 and 2. Okay? I-group po yung 2. So that I will get NO2 square divided by N2O4 all raised to 2. So same lang ito with this one, di ba? You distribute 2 times 2, magiging 4. 2 times 1, edi 2. So it appears that when you multiply the equation by a number, the original K becomes raised to that number. Okay? So, kunwari, times 2 yung equation, magiging times K squared yung value ng K. Kapag times 3 mo, magiging K cube. Times 4, edi magiging K raised to 4. Okay? So, kapag minultiply, nagiging exponent yung pinang-multiply mo. Okay? But when you divide, okay, so for example, dinivide ko naman, so N2O4 and then N2O2, ito yon. Kapag dinivide ko lahat by 2, look at what happened. You will get the square root, no? So basically, this is just this thing, okay? But you just get the square root, no? So, square root of, pwede mo yung square root na magka-cancel out yan. And then ito, maging raised to 1/2. Okay? So, yun yung kailangan nyo tandaan. Pag minultiply sa 2, naging raised to 2. Pag dinivide sa 2, naging square root. Okay? So, opposite sila. Ibig sabihin, kapag dinivide ko sa 3, ano mangyayari? It becomes the cube root of the original K. Pag dinivide ko sa 4, it becomes the fourth root of the original K. Okay, so ganun. So again, the equilibrium constant may be flipped. When you flip it, it becomes reciprocal. When you multiply it by a number, the K becomes raised to whatever that number is. Now, you multiply everything by 3, then the K becomes cube. No? You multiply everything by 10, then that means your K becomes raised to 10. Okay? But if you divide your coefficients by something, for example 2, the K becomes the square root. If you divide it by 3, it becomes the cube root. If you divide it by 4, it becomes the fourth root, and so on. And then lastly, ito, babalikan natin to next meeting. You can combine the K. Okay? So, pwede mo sila pagsama-samahin. Naalala nyo yung ginawa natin noong last semester? Wherein yung equations, pinagsama-sama natin, tapos may mga nag-cancel out. Ganun din dito. So, for example, you have two equilibrium constants, magkakaiba yung value. When you combine them, edi magka-cancel out yung C, di ba? Okay? Kasi meron sa left side, meron sa right side. In the equilibrium constant, same lang din. Okay? If you combine them, okay, makikita mo yung isang C nasa numerator, yung isa nasa denominator. So, magko-combine lang sila. Okay? So, ito yung reason bakit tayo nagka-cancel out doon sa equations natin. Because when you combine their K values, their concentration also cancels out. Okay? So, again, when combining equilibrium constant, you just basically join them. You multiply them. And then, there are times that some species will cancel out. The species that are canceled out are called intermediates. Another term. Species that are canceled out agad are called intermediates. Okay. Intermediates meaning sila yung mga nag-exist lang pansamantala tas mawawala din. Sakto sa Valentine's. Nag-exist lang pansamantala tas wala din. Okay. So anyway, so I will upload the worksheet okay, for you to practice. Pero babalikan natin tong combining of K next meeting. And then after that, we'll proceed with the reaction quotient. Okay, so I think that's all for today. No? And I hope na you learned something about equilibrium. I just want you to practice more about it because the rest of analytical chem depends on this topic. Bukod sa solution, ito rin ay important. No? So kindly understand how to write the K and the operations involving it. Kasi kapag master nyo na to, nako, super dali na lang ng lahat ng bagay sa mundo. Okay. So, ayan. See you again next time. Bye-bye. Kasi 9:30 na. So, see you na lang next time. Sa class ko sa laboratory mamaya, sige, meet tayo. No? Mabilis lang discussion din natin doon. So, see you again later. Bye-bye.